All right. Hey, friends.
GM.
How's everyone doing?
GM. Hello, everyone. Maybe give a minute for people to get in here. How's your weekend going so far, Coder Dan?
Very good. Very good. A little bit of shipping, a little bit of coding.
Nice. I've been playing around with my iPad a lot with Procreate and making Aavegotchi art. So
Nice.
That's what I was doing last night.
Is that iPad only?
I think Procreate's iPad only. Like I don't even think you can get it for Mac. Like it only works on the iPad. Really slick though. Like really easy to use. I got the Apple Pencil.
Nice.
Probably spent like a couple hours getting familiar with it, but now it's like drawing on paper. So yeah, fake gotchis is gonna be huge. I think a lot of people after that conversation at the artist summit, a lot of people are preparing for their fake gachi cards.
Yes, I can't wait to see them.
Oh yeah,
it'll be lit.
So we have for today, we have many things to talk about. Shout out to Hardcore for putting together the Miro board for today. And I can plug that link in for you.
See, someone's got their hand raised, but can't see who it is.
Oh, that's Gachi Emperor.
Okay.
Let's see, Gachi Emperor.
Wish they would fix that bug.
GM guys, GM.
Hello.
Yeah, I just enjoy all these meetings. I wish we could have one every day. I know you guys are busy.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad you enjoy them. Different kind of discussion that goes on over here. And it's good because it keeps the hangouts nice and chill and mellow. And then we can focus on all the DAO stuff today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, DAO stuff is really cool. I'd like to say that I've been noticing some nice pricing on the gachis, so I've just been picking up more. I don't know if you guys have noticed it too.
I have not. I mean, you bought some new gachis. I mean, you got quite a collection too.
I'm up to 40. I got 40 now, so 40's nice.
Quite the herd. Quite the stable.
It's quite the stable, sir.
Yes, I love all my gachis. My daughter has a gachi. My girlfriend has a gachi. My girlfriend's an artist, and I'm thinking about maybe her doing a piece or two maybe in the future.
Yeah, that's the idea, right? With the whole Gachi program is to, if you're not the one, the creative type, there's plenty of people out there, and you just, collaborate.
So
It's gonna be
one thing
interesting.
I was thinking that you had said yesterday about those cards is, once they start to get used, the supply is going to go way down, especially if what you're saying is already true. A lot of people are planning on, dishing out some art, so they could be very, very rare very quickly.
Yeah, for people with the diamond hands, that is, I still think it's going to take some time for the price discovery to actually happen around these cards. I think they'll be very attainable for quite some time
Well,
before.
the value behind the card is the art
Mhm.
created behind it. And if
Yeah.
there's some people creating some very valuable art behind it, it creates a very value behind the piece itself, giving the power. Because without the power, you don't have your pieces.
Yeah, it's cool to think about it that way, Okay, so this is DAO discussion number 19. Aavegotchi DAO, the most active DAO on the planet, apparently.
Yeah.
So, pretty happy to be here. All 43 of you on Sunday morning. Glad you're here as well. I'll drop the Miro board link in here for people that missed it. We'll be going off of this today and any other things that you guys might want to talk about. We had a whole bunch of proposals that have already gone through, but I think we might have touched on those last week, but we can quickly just go over them, and just if anybody has anything to comment or say. There was here, add DAO liquidity to Ghost Alchemica pairs. So we're going to be adding 50,000 Ghost and equal Alchemica for the liquidity for those pairs. It will not affect your rewards, but it will allow for less slippage and just better trading. And then so modifying the channeling window, people have voted to keep the current solution with 7.1 million Ghost. Did that meet quorum? 59% voted. Okay, yeah, that did meet quorum. Keep the current window was the consensus on that. And then so Sunset Friends. And we have voted to Sunset Friends immediately. And we should probably talk about just briefly how we want to deal with the sunsetting friends now. Like, we want to make sure we've been talking about it for months, but we also want to make sure that any large stakers or anybody who's staking in that pool is at least somewhat aware that they're not getting any rewards for that anymore, and they should be looking to transfer over to Glitter. I've been talking to a few guilds and just have let them know to pull their friends' stake. GMI has done that weeks ago, so I think a lot of people are moving. But if you know anybody, I think we should definitely have some sort of a announcement on Twitter. Just could be a little thumbnail or something, and an announcement to go along with it, just to get the word out there, and so we don't have anybody staking like a million Ghost 6 months from now realizing that they were not getting anything for the last 6 months. So do you have anything to say on that, Dan, from Pixelcraft's point of view? Like, are you guys working on some sort of an announcement that might just get that last word out for the friends ending officially?
I mean, we can make the announcement. We've done 2 so far here in the Discord, and we'll probably do a tweet about it, a couple tweets. And beyond that, like if people don't come to the Discord or don't go to Twitter, it's a little bit hard to. I guess we could put a thing on the staking page, just let people know there as well. But if they're not active, they're not generally going to be reading those things. I do see there's still 5 million Ghost in the staking contract so far. So I don't think anything's really moved from there. Or no big stakers have left. Looks like.
Another idea I was thinking, something Flame was doing a while ago with pamphlets. If someone does want to make a meme of how these friends are ending now and we're all moving to glitter, that would be kind of fun to make an NFT of that. Just airdrop it to all the big stakers' wallets so they can be like, "Hey, what the hell is this?" And then maybe look into it a little bit more. But other than that, I think what you guys are doing is on point. That's kind of addressing anybody who's engaged, at least on a very minimum level. So even if they're on Twitter, they'll hopefully see it. But other than that, I just had this idea from the community perspective. If someone wants to actually get the word out in a different way through some cool NFT or meme that they want to make and send it to some of these wallets, that would be interesting, at least. But yeah, I got nothing else to say on that. So yeah, if you guys have any other ideas around that, definitely drop it in the chat. The next one, Agate41, was update glitter emissions, increase Ghost USDC to 20%, and retire Ghost Matic. And so people voted to increase USDC and remove Matic, basically. So that change, I guess, will have to happen at some point.
That's been implemented.
Oh, perfect. There you go.
Yeah, we just got that. If you go to the glitter staking page, it reflects that currently the Ghostmatic pool is still there. So if you need to pull your stake out, you can. But it just says 0% weight. And Ghost USDC is now 20% weight.
Right on. Good stuff. And so then the last one there, Agate42, setting limits on the number of board gachis allowed per wallet address. We have voted to limit the market to number of parcels plus 1. Wait, hang on. Yeah.
So is that that's basically 2 for every parcel then?
Nope, that's 1 plus the number of parcels you have. So if you have 1 parcel, you would have a 2 borrow limit.
Okay. So that's the only time that it would be doubled, is only if you have 1. If you have 40, then I have 41 limit.
That's right, yeah.
That makes sense. I thought it was like an extra 1 for every parcel you had for some reason.
A good clarification there, yeah. So you just get 1 extra plus your parcels. And that's how we're going to move forward with that. And that takes care of all the proposals that were recently put up. And so we got a new proposal here. We will talk about it in new business, but let's look at our old business first. And actually, old business is this proposal. It's in here. So we're going to go to the Miro board. We were talking about this a couple weeks ago about airdropping Gachi respec potions. And the consensus at the time, people seem to feel really good about it, but it might be time to get another check on that, see how y'all feel about this. And I kind of think it's an interesting idea. You know, we've been adding points to our gachis, since inception based on rarity farming. And the traits didn't really have a whole lot of meaning up until now, with everything being developed. So people have allocated their points that will, in a way that's, most favorable to rarity farming. But now we're entering a new era with the Gachiverse and battle mechanics and PvP in the arena. It might be a good idea to give these OG Gachis who've been got experience, allocated, collected all these points. Maybe they get airdropped one of these respec potions per gachi that you have in your wallet. And what it should do, it's kind of like a wayback machine. So what it would do is it would take your gachi back to a point before it had its spirit points allocated, and you would get all those spirit points to reallocate to your trait set. And so I think that's a really good idea. I have some questions to clarify. I don't think this proposal specified if this is addressing only the spirit points, so that's what you get from your XP, or if it's addressing the aging bonus as well, which is addressing the age of the gachi. So what are you guys thinking? Just want to get your thoughts on that. Is this going to be addressing only the aging, only the spirit points from XP, or is this also addressing the aging points? Who Tommy Gachi made this. All earned points. Okay, cool. Yeah, all right. So this is addressing all earned points. It would take you back to the point where you would get all your aging points back, and you would get your spirit points from XP back. And then you can reallocate them however you wish one time, and that would burn the potion, I believe. Kind of like an XP potion. So very interesting. I really like it. I think it's a good opportunity for people to optimize the meta of their gachis as we figure that out. And kind of want to see what you guys have to say. Tommy Gachi, if you want to come up here, if anybody else has something to say on this specific proposal, you're welcome to come up here. But what are your thoughts, Dan, on this respect potion?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's been a lot of discussion on it, and seems like it could make sense. If I don't know if the timing would be like when we want to implement it, because combat's not quite ready yet. So would you want to? I guess the worst thing would be if someone spends their potion, they use it now, combat's not live yet, and then they want to use another one. They have to go and get it from the open market at that point. Shouldn't be too big of a lift. I haven't seen the work that would be necessary to actually do this on the contract side. But if anyone would be,
I think you're going a little robotic on us.
You on your phone, Dan, or your computer?
no, on the computer.
Yeah, I remember last time you went on your phone, it worked a lot better.
No,
And
it didn't really.
Tamagotchi got his hand up, Hefe.
Tommy Gachi does? Yeah, let's get him up here. GM Tommy Gachi.
GM.
I like your proposal.
Thanks. I wanted there was some talk. Dan suggested maybe waiting until all the polls got voting power, and I thought, well, let me put it out now because I think there's going to be a long leeway of time of getting all the voting done. SIG prop, core prop, and then the dev work for the potion. And so I thought the potion might come out, shortly after, PvP is out. And I thought it'd be good to get all the paperwork done sooner rather than later.
I think it's a good idea. These things, like you said, they take time to implement. So, if we can start, we've already had plenty of discussion on it. So if we can get the SIG prop out there, which we do have now, and then get that voted on, like you said, core prop and then dev work, it might still be a few months, before we see the respect potion. So the timing, it might work out. But I guess the intention is to have these out after PvP or, as PvP is coming out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me any better now, or still robotic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm good. There was kind of a question of what happens later down the road with these respect potions. The being roughly 20,000 potions going to be airdropped depending on the number of gachis in people's wallets at the time of the snapshot. And I put in the proposal that'll be up to Pixelcraft to pick the the block for the snapshot. The question is, what about down the road? Like will there be any opportunity for new potions to be crafted or airdrop from other events and stuff? And my take on that is, well, are there any new XP potions? Are there any new kinship potions? And I'd say no. So that's kind of, I think the respec potion would be treated just the same as the other potions. The amount in circulation is just the amount.
Make things interesting for price discovery, and it would also make for some really interesting strategic decisions. Because if that's the case, the supply is capped and it's based on a even distribution of some gachis. There might be some really interesting prices on these in the bazaar, and someone will have to decide if they've already used a respec potion. If you want to completely change the meta of your gachi, it must have to be really worth it in order for you to spend, a few hundred ghost or whatever it may be to get that respec potion again, to respec your meta again.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the potions are going to become more and more valuable over time as gachis accumulate points. Because if you think about it, it's like if a gachi that only has 5 earned points, the potion's not as valuable compared to a gachi that's earned 20 points, which could really change their meta. They could really swing from a range gachi to a medley gachi, with the more points that they could allocate. So I think it's a very interesting game mechanic, especially as time goes by.
Yeah, and strategy wise, I know the meta can shift in these games over time, and certain builds might not be as optimal as others over time. And so having periodic events, even let's say these are the ones that are in supply, but at a later time, way into the future, let's say we have the great battle, and now the meta of the whole game is kind of changing again. Instead of starting to tweak the individual traits, which I'd kind of be opposed to that, I would rather have another opportunity for respec potions at that time. So it's a good way, I think, to avoid people getting salty about a specific trait, because it's like, well, if your trait sucks for that, instead of trying to push a proposal through the DAO, go get a respec potion and fix it yourself, for your gachi. Optimize your own gachi, and then, rather than trying to, fix something that doesn't need to be fixed, essentially. So it's a good way to.
That comes into what I was thinking was about your eye traits. So they can't really mess with that. And one thing I was thinking about, the next gachis that I buy might want to have, all 4 traits without your eye traits mattering. So maybe gachis like that are, 4 myths or really close to it, we're really going to matter in the PvP. And I don't know what you guys thought about that.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. I think, if there's less points with the eye traits, those gachis will be better for PvP for sure. Goobs has a interesting question. Will respecs work with off-chain traits? I'm guessing no. Because I know Coder Dan, you had mentioned that the traits specifically in the Gachiverse will be a little bit different in that there will be kind of off-chain traits that will get a certain amount of points allocated per XP level to put towards our Gachi. How do you see the respec potions working with that?
I would say it would probably update the off-chain trait as well. It would be confusing. If you're going to respect your body, it would be
you're breaking
full
up.
reroll.
Now, like me, if I walk too far away from my router, I break up hardcore. I don't know where you're sitting in your house.
I don't think it's his house. I think it's the Chinese firewall.
Yeah, but what I think Coder Dan was saying is that if you go and respec your gachi, all that's on chain, and then you go into the gachiverse, you would resync, essentially like you resync in your installations. That's the way I see it. Then it makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's kind of what I was getting from him too.
And something interesting. I think we were talking, Gachi yesterday, was that there's opportunities to have more points in the Gachiverse than in the protocol. So, like for instance, each level of XP you get 3 points, and those points can be allocated. So if your Gachi is level 5, you get 15 points that you can allocate to the different traits. And so there's already kind of a way that you can manipulate your Gachi's traits in the Gachiverse. And so also another way of saying it, it's not total parity with on-chain protocol and the Gachiverse. So there's some wiggle room, which is kind of interesting. So I think that's good. That's also an interesting dynamic. So XP matters a lot.
Oh my god, does it ever? I have one Gachi that's almost, I think it's level 8 now. And so I'm really looking forward to that because I'm studying the meta of it, and it's going to be good.
Yeah, I have a Gachi at level 12, right? So, whatever, top 15 on the leaderboard. And his BRS is low. His traits are kind of pretty weak. And so it's like now I'm thinking about, which I probably won't, sacrificing him to give XP to one of my stronger Gachis. So it'll be a stronger PvP in the Gachi. It's kind of like, holy shit, I got to think about this stuff.
Well, one thing that I've thought about, that same thing, because I've done it before, is basically farming your XP. So until you know exactly what you're going to do with it, I would just continue to collect that extra XP. And then when you're ready and you're ready to murder them, you just kind of murder the Gachi, take the XP, and boost your other guy. But you got more of it that way.
Yeah, that was my plan for one of my lower BRS Gachis that I bought, way back, is to accumulate XP and sacrifice him. The economics didn't pan out for rewards and leaderboard for rarity farming, but it might for Gachiverse. So if I need a hefty guy to go do a quest, go kill a boss, those extra points towards various traits is going to be very important. It's going to make money, essentially. Pretty cool.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, that's the way I see it also. So I think the respec potions, just to sum it up, it's a good idea. I don't see any opposition to it. It might take some time to develop these, so it's good that we're talking about it now. And hopefully the SIG prop passes. I think it's it hasn't met quorum yet, but hopefully it does, and you'll work well alongside the Gotchiverse mechanics.
Also, one note, I put up a SIG prop for the vault, and so if you have voting power in the vault, go vote. The vault SIG prop ends a day early, so to make sure and give the vault some time to vote on the actual SIG prop. So hopefully it'll make quorum with that dynamic. But definitely go ahead, go vote. I even put a sustaining in there, just so that we can capture all the votes, so we can more easily make quorum.
That's awesome. Yeah. So make sure you go vote on that on their end as well, so we can get their support. And that takes care of all business. Thank you for running us through that, and putting the proposal together as well. Thank you for that.
Welcome.
So,
I
go
got
ahead.
a question here. Yeah, maybe we'll try in different VPN networks. So the issue is with Discord. You guys are probably all in the U.S., so it's going to route my connection over to the U.S. But I'm in, I'm in Asia, and I use typically Asian VPN, so that's part of the problem. But I do have a question for the Sunset Friends proposal. There was no mention of enabling glitter to be able to purchase drop tickets and other tickets. So has anyone done any thinking in the DAO on when they would like to enable that and what the price of the tickets should be? That's kind of the next step.
So we have Esmeralda in the chat saying we have 4 billion friends, and they're suggesting to wait for the glitter tickets until after BRS pause. I don't know what that means. I guess maybe the wearables, and have had a land auction.
Well, before adding more, dilution to the current friends market, we need to, use up the current friends and the current tickets, which all those things are currently on pause. So there's really no, sync for those things. So I think keeping everything on pause might be a good idea. I don't know what you guys think.
Hey, GM friends. I want to say
Yep.
keeping it on pause seems like a good idea, but then I think when we go into the next raffle, so maybe as a compromise, like going into the raffle or just prior to the raffle, we set it up so that people who want to participate that don't actually have friends can still get the tickets without having to buy them on the secondary market.
But that's why the secondary market's there, right? No Future is to kind of give them the opportunity to buy them if they want to.
True, but if you were staking, say, your ghost to get tickets, now you're staking for glitter. Glitter only has certain use cases if you're in the Gachiverse, where friends are just a protocol level thing. So if people just wanted to earn tickets, they wouldn't be able to at this point until we activate it. It's just a very niche player. This is the only reason I bring it up. It's like not a big deal.
So as I'm thinking, as you're talking, so they can take their glitter, turn it into ghost, and buy the drop tickets on the thing, right?
Yeah, but then they're dumping the glitter versus burning it.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's just it's a small like contingent of players that would fit into this little thing. But I just popped into my head like.
Yeah, I was just thinking of the already huge dilution of tickets because of the lack of having land raffles or wearable raffles, or we don't really have a lot of stuff going on, so we're kind of in a pause mode is what I was thinking. So I don't know how that would affect the actual liquidity.
Yeah, I agree. Heart battles. Buy hearts with friends so that we can kill each other. That'll be the last thing I say.
I just say we can battle for my friends if you want, PvP.
With the tickets, another thing to consider with the tickets is if we do have tickets that can be purchased with glitter, kind of going back to what Coder Dan was saying or asking, like at what price would people currently pay for a ticket in glitter? Like what does that translate to? Whatever the ticket price is right now in glitter, what does that translate to in glitter price? I don't have a calculator, but someone can, like whatever it is,
I'm checking Quick Swap now.
yeah. I'm just curious.
We'll use based off of a drop ticket, right? A drop ticket's around 2.7 ghosts last I checked. That
Crypto Green
Right now,
saying,
the going price of one friend is roughly 0.0002 ghost.
so
It's almost like one glitter per friend. Honestly, it's pretty close. No, sorry, 10 glitter per friend.
Yeah, Quick Swap is showing 14.655 glitter per 0.0002 ghost, which would be one friend.
do you think the glitter price could be dynamic for the tickets, or do you think it would have to be a static price from the get-go?
It will definitely be static for a while because there's very little liquidity and there's no oracle to be able to tell us the correct ratio. So it'll definitely be static.
Well, I mean, once you enable that future, it's going to dilute the current price of the ticket. So on the bazaar. So I mean, no matter what, I mean, if you do it based off of these ones, it'll still dilute it more the sooner that you do it.
I mean, only if people buy them, right?
That's a good point, because in this market, does it make already the billion tickets and prices dropping? Unless you think you're at a bottom.
Well, I mean, you got to think people already were staking. They were earning a certain APR. I mean, tickets were worth a ton more than they were. I think when I first got in it, what drop tickets were like 10 or 11 ghost. Right now, they're about 2 ghost, which means they've broke down, to a fifth of their, price when I got in. And ghost was double its price when I first got in. So, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, if you keep diluting everything, it's not good for the actual people who are investing into the game.
I agree.
What's going to
And-
happen if we set the tentative price of a ticket for 100,000 glitter? What would happen? Will we see people actually spending their glitter on these tickets?
Well,
What level of ticket?
well,
Oh, I'm just referring to a drop ticket.
I was thinking, I mean, what if you temporarily, I mean, if this is possible, Coder Dan, allowed tickets to be bought in glitter in the bazaar, and that would kind of alleviate some of the stuff too, right?
You mean to allow tickets to be bought in the bazaar? I mean, that is how it
With
is,
only
right?
glitter temporarily, just to give the option for the people receiving glitter till we can change that to
What do you mean, like enabling people to be able to buy stuff in the bazaar with glitter?
only the tickets. And yeah, with glitter temporarily until you guys can do what we're talking about doing right now in the future.
Seems like a lot of overhaul of code for no real specific
Yep.
purpose.
Okay, that makes sense. It's not possible. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, we can not do it. I was just wanted to bring it up and see if what people's thoughts were. I agree, it's not a very urgent thing, but once friends are turned off, and we'll have the upcoming the Gachi's raffle and maybe some other raffles. They're getting shorter and shorter supply, so which is not a bad thing for a while.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it'll help pump those prices back up, a little bit, before we do add that in there. So maybe it'll help recover the market and the ticket price and everything.
Quick question. You probably can't answer this, Coder Dan, and hope about on the answer, but can you tell us what kind of ticket would be used for the fake Gachi raffle, or is that too alpha E right now?
I think we did not include that in the piece. It's a drop ticket.
Okay, I'll be back.
Currently, how many drop tickets are there?
Well,
Let's see. Have to go to OpenSea for that. I think they usually have generally accurate number.
To remove my listings for tickets.
delist. You're very close to the alpha here. I mean, that's another reason to be in here on these. Anybody listening to this stuff, you're like, you got your ear to the wall of the Aavegotchi.
All right, so here's the OpenSea for it, and you can see there are 377,000 total. That number is misleading, of course, because a lot of those have already been entered. But doesn't look. It used to be able to click on that number and it would show you the breakdown. Did they get rid of that? Maybe they did. Oh, here we go. You click on the owner. So there are 313,000 that are entered. So there's about 60,000-ish that are not entered and that are kind of floating.
So for the second land raffle, how many drop tickets were basically probably available around, the time that second raffle happened? Just out of curiosity, if you knew.
Yeah, we would. I have no way to look that up on a call right now.
Okay, I just thought that was something maybe you guys knew before it happened. Maybe you remembered.
I mean, we can check how many were entered.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going for. I just wondered what's the difference between, like, if we were to do a land raffle right now compared to the other two land raffles, of how many drop tickets were available, because obviously there was already quite a few drop tickets. You said there was like 300,000 already out, so
There were 84,000 drop tickets entered in the last raffle, raffle 7.
okay, so currently we don't even have as many drop tickets existing if we had the exact same land raffle, right?
Yeah, but that's because no one is, like, people aren't converting their friends into tickets yet.
Okay, so I mean, basically, they're about to, whenever the alpha comes out, they'll convert it when it happens.
Yeah,
So then
yeah.
there's a shit ton more.
Yeah, it's kind of a moot point. Trying to find that out right now.
Yep.
Yeah, right on. Okay, so seems like this is not something pressing, but we should definitely try and figure out what the cost and glitter of a ticket would be. But I don't think it's pressing. It doesn't sound like it's something we have to do right away, but we should definitely try and figure out what the price would be, you know. It's interesting that you say it's almost 1-to-1 or 10-to-1, like you said, for glitter to friends. That's it's just interesting to see that ratio. Just reading some of the comments in here.
We did talk about, I don't know if it's on the Miro board, but we got observer mode.
Yes.
Does anyone have any more comments about that?
Yeah, so that's part of our new business. Actually, we should get in that observer mode. I guess this is a idea that you had put out there, but it's caught on pretty quickly because we got fake gachis, got NFT display cases coming out, and this kind of ties in with that. You'll be able to have observers, and these observers will have very limited capabilities, but it'll be I don't know visually what it would look like, but it would be this other character, I guess, that could come in to the Gachiverse and walk around on your parcel in the Gachiverse and look at the artwork. If you're doing like an art gallery thing, you could have them in there looking around. They could get a vibe for the Gachiverse, see the spillover, people collecting all the tokens. They'd be very limited in what they could do, but it would allow them to be a part of the experience and really get in there. So yeah, definitely want to know what your comments are on that. Should we invite observers into the Gachiverse? Very limited capabilities. So things they can do, they can move around the Gachiverse, still bound by physics of the game. They can place installations, tiles, and upgrades on parcels that they own. So they may not have a Gachi at all, but if they want to build, they are allowed to build in the Gachiverse if they own land. And this might be really good for the land economy as well, because there's a huge difference in price between buying a piece of land right now and buying a Gachi. So
Yeah.
Lowering the barrier to entry there significantly by getting observer gachis that can build in the Gachiverse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's the building is a key feature of the observer. So they're not pure observers. They can also build, which maybe observer not. We've actually went through quite a few names for this role. Could be that observer is not the perfect name because they can build. Another name we had was Spectre mode, like James Bond movie Spectre mode, which I thought it was kind of clever because it kind of sounds like spectator mode, but it's also a ghost. But I feel like that time would probably be lost on many people. So I don't know.
Now, would those people be able to, whatever they're building on their land that they owned, are they going to be able to somehow get that out of there, or do eventually they have to buy Gachi to extract what they've built.
No, they can't do any yield activities. They can't like if you make a harvester and reservoir, you can't empty your reservoir with an observer.
Okay, but you can make it with an observer.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically somebody can enter into the game, but they actually aren't earning any alchemica until eventually they can buy a gachi and extract what they've done already?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
this is mainly like you probably wouldn't build all the yield farming stuff unless you have a gachi. So this is more for someone who wants to build out like the NFT display, but they don't have a gachi. They just want to show their stuff off in game, right? But they don't have a gachi and they don't want to rent or like borrow a gachi on the open market because it takes quite a bit of effort sometimes, depending on the time, to get a gachi. And also, they might not want to pay upfront to get that gachi.
Well, yeah, you could have a bunch of friends in there helping you build at different times, and they don't even have to be a part of the game, and they could just be helping you inside of the game and kind of bring them into the game.
Well, yeah, but you might not have friends. You might be totally new to the ecosystem, and you don't really know anyone.
Oh no, I know. I'm even being new. Somebody new, they can have their friends come in and check it out without having to buy a gachi to check it out or rent one, like you said yesterday, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, I could have like 10 of my friends come in, check it out, go around, look at my land. If they're bored, maybe they like the game. Maybe now they're building stuff for me. Stuff like that makes a lot of sense.
I was gonna say, how low of a barrier do we want? I think it was Jesse or yourself had mentioned yesterday that it would be possible to even have these observers in the Gachiverse without having a MetaMask wallet. That would be huge. I think that would be incredible. I think other games like Crypto Voxels and Decentraland were mentioned yesterday as having these modes where you can literally go to the webpage, sign in as a guest. You don't have to enter anything, and you can just come into the Gachiverse, walk around, look around, observe per se, but also have this ability to build. Like what are your thoughts on like not even having a wallet to log in?
Yeah, you could just jump in, but you literally can't do anything at that point. You can probably chat, but you couldn't build because you don't have a wallet connected.
So they have to sign through the MetaMask, and they're going to have to own it through like a MetaMask or something, or their ledger. But
Own what?
in order to build what they're building, in order to own their land,
Yeah.
build, I mean,
Yeah.
they have a wallet, is what you're saying, right?
Yep.
But there are also the option, which he's saying, is to just come have like some floaters floating around, observing, checking things out, stuff like that. And if they choose to buy something, then they have that right, and then they need the wallet. You know what I mean? So it's like a second addition to everything, like two parts.
No, Future has a good question. Wouldn't this wreck the rental market? I don't think it would, only because these observer gachis are limited to only building on their own land and also observing and participating in, like art, NFT display type events. I don't know outside of that. Outside of that, they can't really do anything else, right?
Don't get our out. If they're not able to pick up all the stuff, there's no reason to for them to take away from the rental market where people are able to earn.
Well, then, and they also can't channel on other people's land, and they can't drain reservoirs on other people's land. And I think that's another use case for rentals, right? So yeah, I think they'd only be allowed to build on their own land, right? Like this is not going to intrude into the rental market. I would think.
Even then, they might have a Gachi to empty their reservoirs one day. You know what I mean? So that gives another use case for rentals, actually, on the opposite end, if you guys can hear me.
Actually, I had a question. How would this, because someone was saying, imagine 1,000 random colored sus butterflies. I wonder, because I feel like observers can scale up a lot quicker than the number of players because of that whole rental market thing and understanding the game. Getting observers in will be easier than players. So what kind of effects will that have on I guess, the servers and potentially like lag if there are like 1,000 people watching in the Gachiverse but not actually playing? Will that slow down everything considerably, or like what are your thoughts on that, Coder Dan?
We're working on the back end refactoring that's gonna essentially split up the Gachiverse into a ton of small zones. So if you were in a zone with 1,000 observers, it might be a little bit laggy in that specific area, but like the rest of the Gachiverse wouldn't be affected by them.
Okay,
So
that's
that
awesome.
it is. I mean, it is a consideration, but it's also a consideration just in general. If there's 1,000 Gachis in like one tiny area, it's going to probably be laggier than one where there's only two. And yeah, we'll have to probably have some limits on how many observers there can be in the game at any time. And DDoS attacks are possible. So we would obviously want to have a limit on how many people connections there could be that are not trusted, that don't have gotchis.
Would observers have the same features as regular gachis, such as chat and mini map, stuff like that? District and I guess local chat.
It's up to us, really. Like that's up to us if we want to have that enabled for them. If we want to be able to, so like one use case is I'm an artist and I have some collectors and I want to show off my art in the Gachiverse, and I want to just drop a link to them so they can all jump in. Like if they can all jump in, but I can't see them, are they really there?
Yeah, that makes.
Or if I can see them but they can't talk to me, I'm like, oh, this is boring.
Yeah, I think being able to chat with them was huge because observers ask questions.
Yeah.
That installation is cool. Where'd you get that cool, like grand fountain? And then there's backstory, and we can make friends that way.
Yeah, I think it'd be a great conversation.
No,
imagine the GMI Artist Summit with observers there beyond just Gachi Gang. That would have been epic.
Yeah, I agree. And I like Arg's point too. It's a great opportunity to flex the Gachi lore. You could even have like observers show up to your parcel and you do like a Gachi lore storytelling, and you can, through the chat bubbles. And there's so many different events you could throw because the barrier to entry for observers is like nothing. So it's just come in here and let's hang out and then let's talk, let's check out some art. So yeah, it's I think it's a great idea, and really looking forward to observers being launched with NFT displays.
I know this might sound a little far-fetched, but what if the observers could actually rent like my royal robe and wear it around for the day? I don't know if there'd be any use case for that.
I think we have to be careful with what we do with the observers to keep it very limited, because if we start adding on things, now we're starting to take value away from everything else that people have actually paid money for.
No, I know. I was thinking a way to make it have more value. Now I can rent out my equipment, my wearables. I can rent it out to these observers for a certain amount of time for a fee. It makes the equipment, the wearable itself, have more inherent value. So
wouldn't it lower the value proposition for a Gachi then? Because then why would I have a Gachi? I would just get an observer and dress it.
Well, the Gachi already has so many other things that a Gachi does with the BVP, with everything else inside the whole thing. But now say I'm an observer and I want to wear some godlike stuff while I'm walking around and I want to look cool. Just like in other games I've noticed in the past, people just want to look cool. They spend lots and lots of fucking money just to look cool. So, I mean, these observers are going to be coming in, but they could also have a lot of use case for where they could spend money. You know what I mean? And sometimes, sometimes it's just about being able to look cool when you're walking around.
Or they could just spend money on a Gachi, and then they have a dope Gachi that they can dress up.
Well, no, I was just saying, you can't just buy a godlike. But if I want to go in and say somebody who owns a godlike could rent me a godlike for me to wear around for the day because I'm an observer, you know what I mean? It gives the value to the guy who owns the godlike, and it allows the observer to basically say, hey, I spent this money to walk around looking like this, just for the day.
But I would rather rent that godlike from you for my Gachi and then wear that. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
that should just be a feature for Gachis then.
Okay, that's perfect then. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, okay. Yeah, I understand.
Quick question: did we get some like informal alpha there, Dan? Is our observers going to be ready for the launch of NFT plays in the Gachi?
Yeah, that's what we're planning. If the community is cool with having them, and there's no major like disagreements with it that would require like more discussion than a core prop. But
Yeah.
we wanted to put it out so everyone could discuss it and know that it and be aware that it's coming and give out any feedback. But we're planning on having that for NFT displays.
Okay, yeah, good to know.
Yeah, very exciting. Do you think it's time, do you think this needs more discussion, or is it okay to move on a SIG prop for this and actually get a official vote? Or is this something
Yeah,
do we even need a vote for this?
Yeah, we're not planning to, unless it requires us. This is just we wanted to put it out there, and it doesn't really affect the Aavegotchi assets in a major way, because it's not an NFT. It's just about adding accessibility to the game. So shouldn't be a very controversial thing that would require a SIG prop. But I mean, if the community feels differently, we can do it as a formality if you'd like. But we didn't really envision it as requiring a vote.
Yeah, and I see that as being just another feature ad more than anything. So yeah, I mean, people can always vote the other way if we do get the observers, and for whatever reason it becomes some sort of an issue, we can address it then. But I think it's definitely a good idea to just implement it along with the full launch of the NFT displays and the whole Fake Gachi program.
Yeah. As far as the pets, it is something we considered. I don't think it really makes sense with the lore, and we have other use cases for the pets as well, so we don't really want to mix them up. So we're probably going to envision something new for like a new sprite for the observer.
Yeah, excellent. On to, if we're okay to move on, we can move on to a couple other items here. Some conversation going around on a humble return policy. This one's interesting. I guess someone is proposing that there would be an auction credit of 50 ghost per humble that would be given, I guess, to people who don't want their humbles, and it would be put back into an auction pool. Well, let's go through the pros and cons and then, have a conversation around it. It is interesting. This frees up ghosts that will be reinjected into the Gachiverse in other forms. Land is held for implementation at a later date through the auction mechanism, and no humble land will be burnt or left stagnant for gameplay. This is an active treasury use of ghosts, so they're saying, okay, we'll spend ghost from the treasury to do this. And then the cons, and I think one of the cons here is pretty significant. The price of 50 ghost could be possible excessive drain on treasury reserves. This buyback mechanism could backfire and have people leave the ecosystem that they don't believe, and just dump the ghost from their humbles if they don't feel the humbles will be viable land, and not reinject ghost back into gameplay. Honestly, if someone feels about their humbles this way already, this is probably the most likely option they'll be taking. Number two, this could raise the entry threshold for new players. Removal of these plots could eventually cause a price surge on land. I don't see that happening in our current market, but when our humble is going to be a viable land option, this could delay any auction, as they may not be selling further into gameplay. Well, I mean, the other thing to consider here that we Alagan's comment. The other thing we have to consider here is NFT art displays are coming out. That's a great use case for humble land plots. Like I have many humble plots, and I'll probably be using them to display just some artwork or fake Gachi stuff, and it'll be more event-based experiences. You also have lodges, other installations we don't know about. There's been we briefly talked about in the past about broadcasting and that sort of thing as well. So there's so many different features that have yet to be rolled out, and so maybe right now at the time in terms of farming, maybe the humbles are limited. And we actually did preface all the auctions with this that the humbles were not a great buy for anybody who's doing farming. So if you're farming on a humble, you're probably not,
This
farming in the most optimal way.
eh, this just sounds ridiculous, to be honest with you.
It is
Like,
ridiculous.
yeah, I mean, in all honesty, it does, but we have to bring it up and just talk about it.
I don't want to call it ridiculous because that's like, but it is a little bit of a stretch. The
Yeah.
floor for humbles right now are 55. If 50, you can list them right now and get more, if assuming that the liquidity is there. B, yes, it's hard to farm on a land, but I'm a channeling maxi. A humble pays itself off pretty quickly if you have gachis. You don't need to build a whole farming setup, but you could still build out your altar and then add mosaics or whatever you want to it. So there is I think asking for a buyback from the DAO, then the DAO is the bag holder. I don't think that should be the way. You bought land, you've held it for as long as you have. You can't bring the bread back after fucking a month or two because you don't like it and it's spoiled. You had your chance. This is part of what kind of investing and playing the game is.
And there's so many
well
other
said.
have gone wrong so far that we've had to adjust, that have taken value away. We're in a bear market. If an investor's unhappy with his purchase, then sell it. But other than that, I think it is ridiculous. You know what I mean? Personally.
Yeah, and good point with the channeling there as well. That's not something I thought about. But if you have a high level altar that pays itself off pretty quickly with 50 ghost, and I've actually heard recently some scholars in 8-Bit Gamers Guild have bought their first humbles from their channeling yields, which is really
Nice.
awesome to see that barrier becomes so low for them now that they're just saying, you know what, fuck it, like we're just gonna buy our own land now. We can afford our own land from our channeling yield. So
Yeah. You can
this is
also
awesome.
upgrade. I've been upgrading parcels quietly, like my altars, because Alchemicus cheap. Figured it was down. I'm gonna upgrade altars as we go. So there's definitely that's a bailout for humble owners who aren't happy with their purchase. I wouldn't do it.
Hey,
I think-
Coder, before you get out of here, what do you think?
I think in general, we don't want to be turning the DAO into Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, right? We don't want to be purchasing other people's bags because they didn't make, their own investing choices. So that's kind of
I'll
my
buy
thoughts
it
on
for
that.
20 Ghost. There you go. There's the answer. And so will No Future. We'll buy their humbles.
We will buy all your humbles for 50% of the price that you're requesting in this proposal.
Yep, 25 Ghost. Did you switch VPNs, Coder Dan?
I'm here.
No comment from Coder Dan. We're gonna move on. Big Gachi distribution.
I wanted to ask one. There's a proposal. It's got quite a few comments about the golden altar being removable, and I was last time I was reading it. It seemed like people were saying that they didn't actually think we needed a core prop for this or like any sort of vote. But I wasn't totally sure what the expectation was for that one.
Well, you made an interesting point on that one, Coder Dan, because I think the person in that thread was initially suggesting that the golden altar would remain a level 9, but that would kind of break the mechanics of the whole game. And so counter proposal was being able to burn your golden altar, but you would receive a level 1 golden altar back in your inventory to re-equip on a different piece of land. And that seemed to be more reasonable. But curious to know what you think, what other people think on that. I don't think the level 9 movable is going to work.
I'm reading my comment. Maybe removing a GA from a parcel could mint a new level 1 GA back into your inventory, which you could then use to skin a normal altar on a new parcel. So it sounds like we're saying basically you could have, as long as you have a level 1 golden altar, you could then basically burn that golden altar to then transform another altar on another parcel into a golden altar. And then I guess if you demolished that altar, you would get your level 1 golden altar back. So basically you'd be spending that golden altar kind of as a credit to update the skin of your altar. Is that what people want? Like the guy who let's see who made this proposal, JG.
One thought that I've had on golden altars ever since they were released is that they should have been bigger. Is that something that anybody else has thought about?
Some people saying this is pointless. I mean, how much work is this going to be to implement, Coder Dan? Is this going to be a fairly easy thing to implement if people want to move this golden altar, burn it, get the level 1, implement it on a different altar and turn that one gold? Like, is that something?
It's going to be, I would say it's like medium level, because we do have to do a bunch of exceptions in the contract for that specific feature that currently don't exist. So we would have to add in some, like, if level 1 golden altar, and we'd have to add in a new function for it, and it would also require some Gachiverse like front end work to show that conversion UI. Like it would be, I would say, a medium lift.
Yeah, I'd say I agree with what Goop said. Like, we knew how the altars worked when you guys put out lots of videos. We had a stream about it. So changing it now it's not really worth the time and effort.
It is it is an interesting idea to be able to get your golden altar back. Like, would you be able to get your regular altar back also, or are we doing this because the golden altar is kind of a like shelling point? It is a valuable good, and maybe people don't like the fact that it's fixed on your land. But I know some people also made a good point yesterday that they made that financial decision and carefully chose the parcel that the golden altar was going to go on and actually spent all the alc to put it there. So I don't know, like, is that being unfair to those people, or are they even going to care?
I still think that the golden altar should have more aesthetic value from its size. Like when I look at my fountain, I see more value in my fountain than I see in my golden altar because I can view it. I can see it when I zoom in on it. It just looks better.
The one counterpoint I'd make is because I see fountain and then altar on it. Now imagine if that altar was 4 times the size. If you wanted to do a farming setup, you'd be giving up precious space for the flex, which is cool, but would have to be a consideration.
Yeah,
we made it 2 by 2 because it's the exact same as the normal altar. It's just golden color. Weren't really thinking it needed to be significantly bigger.
Well, you really can't see it. The view on it's really not what I thought when they originally were going to come out before we actually had the view of the size. And now when I look at my fountain, I see my fountain as being amazing because it's huge. I love my fountain, and my golden altar. I spent quite a bit on the golden altars as well. So I mean, I just think at the end of the day, I don't really get to see it. So that's kind of why I bought it.
Yeah,
I get to see it every day.
Well, yeah, you get, you know what I mean, though. I don't when I go in there, I like the aesthetic, I got a golden altar, like you can see it. You know what I mean? It's not this little tiny thing in the middle of all the rest of my stuff.
Yeah, I mean, going back to just the conversation with being able to move the altar, I think that was what we were initially kind of um, discussing. Um, is that something the community feels we need to do right now, or is that something that can be implemented at a later date? Like, are people really feeling like they need to move their golden altar immediately? You know, because I think the initial point that was made in the post is that the altar would stay level 9. We've determined that is not going to happen. So now, knowing that, you know, that we cannot move a level 9 from one parcel to another, it'll break the mechanics of the game. Um, do we still really want to spend time on this, basically? Because now it's purely aesthetic. We're not talking about game mechanics anymore. We're just talking about, you know, making another golden altar move, like making the altar itself movable to another property. That's basically what it is. So
Yeah, my vote would be we'll wait for a quiet month for the Gachiverse team, and we can do it then if we still want it. But we do have pretty ambitious release schedule for the next couple months, and this would just take design time, it would take front end time, contract time. So I don't think it's really worth it for the DAO to vote on that. But it's my
yeah,
opinion.
and I agree with Goob's Cold Spirit. Yeah, you guys. Yeah, it's let's wait for a quieter moment. We definitely won't forget about this. You know, feel free to bring it up at a later time when things have quieted down a bit, uh, and it can be implemented at that time if we still want to do it. So, not shutting that one down. We'll just shelf it for now. And that last, maybe we should touch on the last order of business here that we have on our board. And we actually have we're gonna have a special guest, John Gachi, come up here and talk about Web3 School. If we still have time, otherwise we can also get that out next week, because I also know John Gachi's explanation is quite in depth. There's a lot to cover there. So let's touch on the fake Gachi distribution. We talked about this yesterday. Um, I guess saying, you know, Gachi Emperor, you brought up a point where you were looking at the leaderboard distribution and you guys thought that it didn't look quite fair. Um, and you're proposing, I guess, a alternate distribution for these cards.
I was just thinking that my simple proposal was I just went off with no future said and kind of just distribute it the same top 700 BRS, top 200 for your kinship, top 100 for your XP, and it kind of gives the same value as it does with your rarity farming.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I didn't really we talked about it yesterday a little bit,
Yeah.
and it didn't really I didn't really see any point after Coder Dan explained it,
Yeah.
and it. So I mean, at the end of the day, if you want one, you can just buy one. I just thought it'd be cool to I don't know, change it up, but whatever.
Yeah, I think we had a good conversation around it yesterday, but no future
Yeah,
is
I
seen.
agree.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
I don't have a strong opinion one way or the other. I was just
Yeah, okay.
it was talked about during the Gachi space the week before, but I'm gonna get cards either way. So
And to be honest, people are not going to see the value of these cards. It's not going to become apparent for quite some time, probably. So there'll be opportunities, buy from the lettuce hands. There's plenty of them everywhere.
yeah, and a raffle is happening. So, and we just heard that it's going to be cheap at this point. I don't know. This isn't the place to talk about it. We'll talk about it later in the Gachi space, but I wonder what the demand is going to be for that kind of raffle, because I find myself wanting to throw a lot of tickets to get those cards. I don't know if that's shared by a lot of other people, but I am an artist, so it'll be interesting to see kind of how it plays out.
I share that sentiment with you. I do share that. Got a question from Lagan. Question about the cards for artists. Is it up to one max per artist, or is there a possibility to get multiple cards per artist?
Like per wallet, he means, right?
Yeah,
Not everyone's an artist.
speaking about the artist distribution, I guess.
Yeah, if you have 3 gachis that are ranked, or even one gachi ranked in 3 places, you would get 3 cards. What do you mean? Oh, for the art, you mean like the people that are applying for the type form? That will be one card.
Right, one card. Okay. Y'all have any other questions regarding the fake Gachi cards, the distribution process, minting?
Actually, I have a question regarding the raffle.
Yeah.
Is the raffle going to be a one-time raffle for all the remaining cards other than the ones at Pixel Craffle? Or will it be a series of raffles over time, like slowly releasing the fake Gachi cards?
The blog post just says it's going to be one raffle. So basically around 1,500 cards for that raffle.
So there's going to be 2,500 cards total.
Yeah, 2,535. And will there be another set of cards? Probably not for a while. I wouldn't really bet on there being like a second edition within a short period of time. These are meant to last for a while. There are already like twice as many cards as a lot of the like the fake rares. I forget how many they have, but I think it's like what,
Yeah.
1,400?
1,500 for fake rares, but they,
Yeah.
they still have over half the supply, and they've been running the project for almost 2.5 years.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we might burn through it a lot faster, but even so, 2,500 is a lot of art.
Will the distribution based on the leaderboards happen before the raffle or after the raffle?
The raffle will happen after it. It's all in the blog post.
Okay, I got to reread that. Sorry.
Cold Spirit has a question. We were kind of discussing this yesterday. It was initially brought up that there will be a whitelist for certain artwork to be still grandfathered into the displays. Cold Spirit's asking, he said Hefe yesterday kind of pointed out if you weren't interested from the Artist Summit timeline, you didn't want other artists submitting cash grabbers. Can I confirm if I'm working on stuff, I will still be looked at? So for someone who's working on a project currently, how are we approaching that? And also, what are some of the guidelines we could potentially have for allowing grandfathered artwork in?
Just if you do it, make sure it's not low effort and it's not like purely just a derivative of something else. Like it should be art, whatever art is, right? It's hard to quantify or make an objective valuation of what art is, but if it now that we've announced it, there is the risk of people just making a bunch of like kind of low effort art to try and be grandfathered in.
Should there be a standard then?
There is no standard. How do you standardize art? Like, what do you mean?
I mean,
It's either everyone gets in or we say what I just said, which is don't do low effort derivative art.
okay.
There's no standard that says your art must be this level of quality. What is quality?
Yeah, you're right.
So if it looks low effort and looks like it's derivative, then you're probably not going to get in. But if it's a high quality piece that is maybe has some Aavegotchi lore in it and adds to the conversation, then there's a good possibility. But again, I should emphasize if you make a piece and put it on OpenSea before the fake gachis, then that piece will not be eligible for fake gachis.
Okay, so anything that has been created already will not be available. So I mean, it's something that you can only release once they come out.
Yeah, if you want to have a fake gachi piece, don't make a non-fake gachi piece before fake gachis come out.
Very cool. A little more alpha.
And then we got some more alpha on the aspect ratios and the NFT displays. We were you'd briefly asked us if the NFT displays are going to be levels. What would those levels be correlated to? Do we have details on are we going to be leveling up these installations, or are they going to be one level across the board? How are they going to scale?
They are going to be one level. Kind of be what you see is what you get with these. Again, we're just trying to make things simple for people, not have to like think too much about it, and it'll just be what you see is what you get, like a level 1, and it's got all the features that you'll need.
Yeah, it is a feature-based installation at the end of the day, so it's not like it's correlated to any yield where you're leveling it up and you're going to get more yield or anything like that. So makes sense. Well, will people be able to choose their aspect ratios? You have 3 that you put up there. Are those going to be available from day one?
Yeah, we are deciding that now, but pretty sure there will be options for those 3 aspect ratios. Can't confirm the golden versions of those, though. There might be some delays or time differences between those.
Oh, gold art displays. That's some alpha right there.
Yeah.
Mine are all going to be gold, but I know those gold items, they're not cheap. So, actually, speaking of syncs, I know Hardcore was talking to me about with PvP coming up, everybody's talking about PvP. We got NFT displays coming up, fake gachis, like that's really exciting. That's what I'm looking forward to. But some people are looking past that on the horizon for the next thing, which is going to be, battle and PvP. Are there going to be Alchemica? Like, is Alchemica going to play a role in PvP somehow? Like, I know you guys are still working on it, but is there going to be some sort of a sync or something where people will have to burn Alchemica or glitter? Are the tokenomics going to be involved with PvP? Maybe not initially, but at some point. Is that the intention?
Nothing I can really confirm like 100% at this point. Definitely we're thinking about a lot of ways to do PvP. And if there's anything that the community specifically would like, then feel free to go to town on the DAO forum. But there'll be definitely a lot of like new things coming with PvP. But I can't confirm anything like right now.
Fair enough. And to Hardcore's conversation we had earlier, those ranters, I think the way to deal with that is, what? Like, if you want Alchemica syncs in PvP, you want a way to burn Alchemica for PvP, let's start a conversation in the DAO and let's come up with some use cases then. Why don't we come up with some use cases for what Alchemica could possibly do or be in Aavegotchi PvP? What use case do we see Alchemica playing? Is it one specific Alchemica? Is all 4? Is glitter going to be involved? We can start to think about these things, and maybe we can start a thread in the DAO and start talking about some of these ideas. And let's get the ranters in there, man. Some of those people have strong opinions, and that's good for discussion. So, yeah, I think we can definitely discuss that. If you guys are open to that, as a DAO, we can definitely come up with ideas. There's tons of ideas. There is an in-game Alchemic Syncs thread. Okay, so we will definitely go there. Coder Dan posted the link. Awesome. So we'll continue the conversation with that.
I mean, just to some context for PvP, Citadel in general is supposed to be a friendly area. We don't really envision there's the whole Citadel will be open to PvP and gachis will be killing each other the whole time. Like, that's not the vibe of the Citadel. But we are open to having some friendly fire areas in the Citadel and we have a whole release based around that. So I know the people really want PvP and combat right now, but it does take a lot longer to ship that feature than like an NFT display or farming was something we've been working on for 6 months, so that had to go first. NFT display is a pretty light lift for us. That's why we're doing that first, while we continue to work on one, the back end refactoring that we've been talking about, and then 2, the traits for PvP, the animations, the sound effects. Like there's a lot that goes into PvP if you want it to actually look half decent.
And if it's rushed out too fast, then you'll have a whole bunch of people complaining about how the PvP isn't that great. So we definitely don't want that reaction.
Yeah, we don't really want to just like put it out as a minimum viable game, because at least we want it to be like properly game tested with the whole community before we confirm as a game, this is how we're going to do combat, because it's like this is a two-way street. We want to make sure that you guys are happy with it and are going to be excited to want to stream it and like show other people. So if we do something and put it out too quickly, it's not really that fun. You've kind of lost that first impression.
Yeah, I agree. That's definitely an area where you want the product to be a little polished when it comes out. Just looking at Lagan's custom wearables is pretty cool. He's had this idea. Well, actually, there's been this idea out there for a while where you would be able to upgrade your weapon like a skin. So you'd be able to reskin your sus butterfly or your pistol or your portal mage axe by burning some alchemica, and you would just change the aesthetics of it. So it would be the same item with the same traits, but it would look a little bit different. And I just think we're probably not at a place where we can implement that yet, but it would be a great way probably to get like the community pixel artists involved and have some more things in the bazaar at some point where you could, go pick up a pack for skins. I know other games, they spend tons of money on skins that don't necessarily do anything, but if there's 100 sus butterflies, maybe 10 or 15 of them just look a little bit different because those people at some point were able to burn a bunch of glitter or alchemica to change it. It'd be a flex, purely a flex thing, but really, really interesting idea. Yeah, just a side thought anyway. Another thing I wanted to touch on real quick is Hardcore has been touching on the Morales hackathon for the last little while there. I believe it's officially kicked off. So if you do want to get involved, I think he would be the best point of contact for this. But I know there's some significant prizes available. And according to him, the barrier to entry and the barrier to actually have something that gets recognized in this style of hackathon is quite low. So any new, junior devs or anybody already working on a project, Aavegotchi based, there is a metaverse and gaming track that you can get into there. And there's also a developer tooling track. There's 2 other tracks, but I don't think they're very relevant to what we're doing. But the metaverse and gaming track is definitely something that probably appeals to a lot of Gachi gangs. So there's some pretty good prizes in there. Top prize looks like 3,000 USDC. So if you're already working on something, it might be a good opportunity to just get your work in there and get recognized for it. Hardcore, you got any other words on that? You got any other details on that? If not, if people are interested, do reach out to Hardcore for more details and check out the website for you to get started. There's a DAO Tech one as well. Interesting. Okay. Hardcore, do you have a link for people? Can you drop that in the DAO meetings? And speaking of hackathons, I think it would be cool to have a hackathon, Gachi Gang hackathon at some point. Been talking about it with some of the GMI friends about possibly having the next event be a hackathon style event. And still working out the details with that. But I feel like our community has so many cool devs and tools that have been built, or devs building cool tools that aren't really being recognized. They're building in the shadows, and we can kind of bring some awareness to what they're building.
We're actually working on a plan for a hackathon with a very, very big partner. Can't really give a lot of details on it yet, but there is something in the works, and it would be very pretty large scale. Would have the potential to bring in not only obviously Gachi gang builders, but people from all walks of life participating in this hackathon. So wish I could give more, but they're still kind of confirming all the BD stuff. But it looks like it's going to happen this year.
Oh, that's exciting. I hope all the devs are listening to that. Definitely, I'll definitely relay that to the ATF as well, and get people gearing up for that. And as soon as you know some details on that, definitely let us know.
Yeah, we were talking about giving the ATF a heads up and making sure that they are part of that. So once we have more details, we'll also reach out to them. Who's the lead contact for ATF right now?
I believe there's a couple there. There's Alvi, there is Slick, and Shaw are the three main active people there that I've noticed for the ATF. So we still, as the ATF, they still need to get their proposal out there. I know they were not successfully voted on.
Yeah, if you guys just want to clone the old one and repost it, I'm sure it'll probably reach quorum this time. I think the vault just didn't vote on it last time.
Yeah, my sentiment also.
So yeah, that's going to be really, really cool, and looking forward to that. Once we have more details, I'm sure we'll put out a big PR for that. You guys will be blown away.
Oh, yeah. And for people learning, looking to learn how to code initially, Udemy has some great courses to get started. If you want to start with maybe Python, if you want to jump right into JavaScript, I started learning with ChainShot Academy, and they have Solidity courses as well. And they're almost like a Rosetta Stone, but for coding. It's actually very, very intuitive. It's not like Crypto Zombies or anything. So the courses, some of them are paid. They have some free ones you can start with, but a lot of them, the paid ones are definitely worth it. I've tried the paid ones also. So I'm currently working on one of the JS courses, and it's been really intuitive. It's actually been the best I've tried. Maybe coding's been a journey for me. I've probably tried half a dozen different programs and courses. This is the first one where I felt like I was actually, being able to implement what I was learning. So if y'all have any other cool tutorials for people to learn, definitely either drop them in here or in the ATF channel. It'd be cool to get a lot of action going on in there and people learning. That is the place to go. If you ever have any dev related questions, go to the ATF. There's a bunch of big brain people in there. Sha, Slick, I think Coyote's in there sometimes. Alvi's in there. These big brain coders that have already done a lot of Aavegotchi stuff and are familiar with the code base. So they can definitely help you out if you're ever stuck on anything.
All right, friends, I'm going to head out here. Hope everyone has a wonderful Sunday. And we will see you guys next. We'll have the next call will be our rarity farming snapshot coming up this Thursday.
Have a good one, brother.
Hell yeah. Rarity farming. Thank you for your time, Dan.
See you, friends.
Thank you all. Yeah. Thank you all 75 of you to come hang out on Saturday or Sunday with us. We are doing Gachi Space tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern if you want to carry on the conversation. And we'll see you there. And have a good week.
Peace.
Yeah, before you leave, drop your lens profile.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, drop your lens. Absolutely. Let's get all the Gachi gang to follow each other here because we're forced to be reckoned with on lens. So
indeed. Oh, FaZe has a lens. I gotta go find.
Oh, Lagan, does Lagan have a friends? Drop your.
Does. Hopefully he has a super follow now. Hope figure that out.
Ooh, drop all your lens, friends. Hell yeah, Gachi Bulls, get a lens. So every Gachi gang member, if you have a Gachi in that wallet, you should be able to claim a lens profile. If you can't, point of contact is let me see if I can find the point of contact for you guys. You can
Go to lens.xyz and then there's a button there. And if you're eligible, it'll tell you.
yeah, but there's like for me, for example, I was eligible, but they didn't have me on the list for some reason. So I had to DM this guy, and he helped me out. See if I can find his contact. A while ago.
Yeah, I just dropped a link to the video I made about like lens and going through like the setup if you need the basic setup. Hefe will hit you with the information if you're not on.
Yeah, it's David EV.eth. Yeah, like that. It's David EV.eth on
Yeah, he
Twitter.
just followed me.
Oh, really?
On Lens, he followed me, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can contact him and he can hook you up, help you out. If you have a Gachi in that wallet, but you don't have a lens. All right, friends. That's all I got. You got anything else up here?
No, I'm gonna sign off. I gotta go get some, and I'm just following Lens. He just followed friends on Lens too.
Nice. Let's all follow each other. Have a good week, friends. We will see you again next week. Peace out.
Peace.
Boom.